Here we go again. Survivor 50, episode 9 in the books. And the Manchild takes another one in the head. We'll talk all about it, break it down. Manchild Show with Boy Green Digital Live starts right now. All right, let's break it down, Boy Green. A lot to get into on this episode. Let's start.
Whoa, hey, my pizza guy. What's going on?
Will woke up with a crab right on his chest. It was so funny. We caught it and ate it.
I give a flying hoops a minute. Give your hand.
Oh, man. Like Christian got shot out of a volcano tonight instead of the Manchild. Oh, goodness gracious. Christian. Survivor history made tonight. A player having to vote for themselves thanks to Jimmy Fallon. We'll get into all of it. Mr. Beast going to appear next week on the show, so we've been wondering what that's all about. There's going to be some specific thing with Mr. Beast, and they
super beware advantage.
So we'll find out what that's all about. Everything's super duper in season 50. Super this, super duper that. So we'll take our guesses, our swings at that. But welcome aboard, everybody. It's the Survivor Recap Show. The Manchild, Jim Lurch, along with Paul Boy Green Esden Jr. Paul actually sitting in Pittsburgh, PA tonight. He is in Pittsburgh for the NFL Draft, which is tomorrow night. For anybody that follows us on the sports content side of things, Paul will be there covering it from the ground. He's going to be in the pod or the pit or whatever the heck they call it for all the crazy Jet fans. So be watching the draft tomorrow night and looking for this bearded guy with the green all over the place, perhaps on your television nationally and internationally as the NFL Draft descending upon the great city of Pittsburgh, the Steel City, the city of bridges, over 400 of them in Pittsburgh proper. All right. Without further ado, I do have a little bad news to deliver to our audience tonight. Bret LaBelle, who is always with us every single week, is sick. Yeah. And Bret was going to try to tough it out, Boy Green. He was going to try to do it. He's got like a case of laryngitis. I guess he's had a bad cold or something, flu, whatever the heck is going around. But he just doesn't have a voice. So we told him, take the night off. It's all right, man. And Bret will be back with us next week. So he's sorry he's not here for you folks, but we are here and we are ready to deliver. And I am hot, because another one of my players has been eliminated.
Well, real quick,
all that kind of stuff. Go ahead, BJ.
Yeah, I just want to say, get well, Bret. Obviously we've had you on forever for all these Survivor episodes for many, many seasons. But just right off the top, Bret, we appreciate that you were willing to try, but no worries. Me and Manchild can hold down the fort. A lot to unpack from that episode, Lord. So please, wherever you wanted to go.
Oh man, all right. Well, we always kind of start with the elimination and work our way back. So I mean, heartbreaking. I do, and there it is on the tote board. Tote board no longer heavy. Manchild down to just Joe. That's it. All I have left is Joe. Please. I need Joe to go on some kind of immunity challenge run. He did win the immunity challenge tonight, so maybe Joe can go on a run. Maybe Joe can just lurk in the shadows here for a little while and then go on one of those late immunity runs. He is very well liked, but he's not aligned well at the moment. He's trying to redo things a little bit. He was talking to some people in the episode tonight that I think maybe could get him in a better position, but it's not there right now. And this is a group that there's a lot of alliances, and a lot of them are unknown to most of the players. So it's a fascinating season of Survivor in that sense. Eventually, it's going to come together. We're going to, push is going to come to shove here. And we're going to find out whether it's that Ozzy, Cirie group. Are they going to be the tightest of the alliances? It sounded like Cirie was leaning that way tonight. She said, Ozzy's my number one. So we'll see if she keeps to that. And then we've got other people trying to maneuver and create alliances.
I just want to make sure we give the name, Lurch. Cirie's Wizard of Oz.
Yeah,
that's
Wizard of Oz.
Her multiple number ones, apparently, with Rizzo and Ozzy. So hearing Christian was apparently number 3 in her pecking order. She has, by the way, what a first world problem. You have so many alliances that you sort of have them stacked in a pyramid. Oh, you're 1, you're 2, you're 6, you're 7. That must be nice.
Yeah, must be nice. Well, anyway, here we go. Let's talk all about it. Let's break it all down. It's going to be a lot of fun. Feel free to chime in on the comments. Already some comments coming in. What is it? Avion here, right? Avion.
Yes, on Twitter.
Oh, myth, garbage, celebrity twists. We have been talking about these twists. I don't know whether people love them, people hate them. We have apparently votes by the fans deciding some things as well. We saw an interesting thing with Rice tonight. We're going to get into all of it. There's
Okay.
a lot to unpack in tonight's episode. So keep the comments coming. But yes, I think Bret, if you were here tonight, Avion, he'd be saying the same. Hey, I can't stand these garbage celebrity things. So that's the
Yeah.
next.
So that was a terrible Bret LaBelle. But you've got one in there somewhere. So
you have one in here,
Yeah.
So on the driveway. Listen, those I don't know. Half British, half Boston.
So here's what I'm going to do, Lurch. I'm going to challenge you just like they challenged Jeff Probst tonight when he was in the challenge. Dig deep, Lurch. Dig deep. It's in there somewhere. I've heard it before. It's can be somewhat respectable. So work on that for later this evening.
I'll work on it. Okay. Anyway, the Christian does go home. I thought it was going to flip to Emily because Emily Flippin, a very appropriate last name, was flipping and flopping all over the place. What's with her betrayal of Ozzy? Why did she go? Is she going down this road, Boy Green? It makes no sense to me and her game, and yet she's going down this road.
Well, I mean, to be honest, nothing of what Emily has done so far this season has made any, with all due respect, any logical ties. She is, one of the big things on the island is knowledge is power. And I'm not talking about the advantage that exists out there where knowledge is power and you can steal something from someone. I just mean literally knowledge is power. And if you are in a hub of information where people are bringing you information, we talked about that off air with Sari. We'll get back to her later. Like Emily, for God knows what reason, people seem comfortable to share stuff with her. Like Devins, when he came back from Tribal, who said at the beginning of the episode, told Emily, hey, the idol's fake. And I went, what is he doing? And apparently she didn't share that information with anyone else or it wasn't shown in the edit. Right. But it's just bizarre to me. I don't understand. But despite her position, which in theory would be very good, getting information, she just blathers it out to a lot of people, which makes you a very unreliable alliance member, which drops you in certain pecking orders, which means eventually you're going to get got. So yeah, it's hard to explain the Ozzy thing because they were, and Ozzy and Emily both said this when they connected earlier this season, that they're an unlikely duo. If I just looked at the 24 original cast members of Survivor 50, I would have never put Ozzy and Emily together as a pair that could potentially be working together. So that's a sneaky, to your point, it's hard to discern the alliances. That would have been great if they would have continued to work together, but they didn't. But no, Emily's had an incredibly sloppy game. I think she has no chance of winning. We referenced our fantasy draft earlier. None of us took Emily. I don't feel bad that I didn't. And the more I've seen her play so far this season, it doesn't make me regret not picking her either.
Yeah. All right. We'll get into that board a little bit later and who's looking good. I know I'm not, but there are some people looking really, really good in this one. It's interesting. There is some talk about that, Boy Green, just vamping on that topic a little bit about, trying to get with unusual people, unsuspecting people. We heard Aubrey talk about that tonight. Aubrey has gotten not such a great edit this season. Tonight, she was present a little bit. So Aubrey getting a little bit better edit tonight and definitely, trying to maybe align with some unconventional people here that people wouldn't suspect because she finds herself obviously in that deadly middle right now. Okay. Can be great to be a swing vote, but if you don't have the numbers, then you just swinging back and forth and trying to get the numbers in your favor. I don't know how long she'll last in the game, but I think that's a good strategy for someone like her at this point of the game.
Yeah, it's interesting because, I've seen what Aubrey said. So you go to the near beginning of the episode where Aubrey and Jonathan are talking, and Aubrey realizes that Jonathan is desperate and thus wants to work with Aubrey, although he didn't want to work with her earlier. And if you've watched just Survivor history, right, we're in season 50, there's been 49 previous seasons. Sometimes whoever that person is in the Aubrey position where they weren't working with Jonathan originally, and now he's trying to work with her after the fact, get miffed and say, you know what, screw you, buddy. I'm not going to now work with you just because you need a number. And they sort of like cross their arms and look the other way and will allow Jonathan to get voted out, but then they're voted out right after that. So credit to Aubrey for having thick skin and realizing that, like, yeah, okay, he's desperate and coming to me, but still he's coming to me. That keeps my light on in the Survivor house. And Devin said this earlier, even though it didn't mean anything, but he said it earlier that, I just want to survive another night. And then who knows, your game your flame can remain lit and craziness can happen as we've seen with this season. So I think that's a proper mentality from Aubrey. Certainly. I don't know what her chances are. She got off the wrong foot immediately with the weird Genevieve thing, and it seems like she hasn't fully recovered. But no, I think that's a step in the right direction.
So we saw some history tonight. Number one, we see a guy have to vote for himself in Christian. Okay, history made. We saw previews of it last week, but Jeff Probst actually did. It wasn't just kind of a lark. We were unsure how that was going to play or what that was all about. Actually bet against, and they negotiated from 5 down to 4 players in the challenge. And he had to give up some rice for losing in that, very strengthening forearms wrist challenge that we've seen over a lot of seasons of Survivor. That was fascinating. And Jeff really got to find out what it's like to be a survivor. He said, hey, man, I think I'm going to rib people a little less, at least for the rest of this season, having gone through a challenge myself, because he was beaten by the group rather handily, to be honest with you.
Yeah, let's get into a few pieces of that. So for people that missed it, some of the key details of the challenge. We've seen this challenge 100 times before in Survivor. So you have to hold up 25% of your pre-game body weight. So again, imagine you're on the island, you're losing weight rapidly, you're not eating as much as you're eating at home. So the number, which Devin's tried to argue, my number right now is a number I'd prefer, because that means the weight would have been less, obviously. But they give you 25% of your pregame body weight is what you have to hold up for whatever period of time. So let's break down each layer of this, Lurch, because this Jeff Probst thing is interesting. So first off, Jeff Probst obviously has an advantage that, he's well fed, he's showered, he's sleeping. He's at 100%. You would have to imagine, even though his 100% obviously is different than Jonathan's 100%, but still he's at 100%. But on the other side, Jeff Probst threw some things out there. Well, if I drop this, I'm not getting voted out tonight. If I drop this, I'm not winning $1 million. So my motivation, it's these players, right? These players on the island know it's do or die. So there's a inner thing of holding onto a rope. It hurts, and you're like, if it's for $1 million, I'm going to hold on to this rope a little harder, even if it's innately, subconsciously, than if it's just some game here. Did you like that aspect of it for Jeff? Because here is the other part of it. To your point, he said the first part of the negotiation was 5 of you do a side bet with me, and if I outlast all of you, or as long as I outlast at least 4 of the 5 people, and any one of you, that's a better way to put it. If I outlast even one of you, then I keep all the rights, you get nothing. But if all of the 5 that volunteer outlast me, then you guys get the rights. And they negotiate down to 4, so smart on Jonathan to attempt to negotiate there. Do you think that was fair? Because, Jeff Probst is well fed. I imagine he looks like he's in really good shape. He is the oldest player, the oldest person out on the beach, as he mentioned. But did you think it was fair?
Yeah, number one, even Probst could have even practiced it. I don't know if he did or he didn't.
Right, I don't know.
That on the show, but he certainly could, do those little wrist squeezy things and do some things, because it's all forearms and wrists.
Grip strength, right? Charlie, that's what Charlie used to say. Grip strength.
Come on, he knows what's going to happen in the show, so he had an advantage there as well. But I thought it was right for him to raise, the idea that, I have nothing at stake here other than my own personal pride and embarrassment, which it turned out he was a little embarrassed, frankly. But you guys obviously have immunity on the line, and you have a lot more on the line. And I do agree, desperation certainly does change, how hard you try at things. There's no question, I'm going to die if I, okay, you're going to be a little bit more motivated than someone who's just, okay, it'd be fun to beat them, but who cares? So I thought that was a good point by Jeff. And no, I thought the challenge was very fair, and it just does go to show, in all honesty, because Jeff is a fit guy. I know he's up there, but he's a fit guy. And how hard those challenges are, and the fact that they're doing it malnourished, exhausted, not getting a good night's sleep, stressed by the game itself mentally and what it does to you and how you're changing your perspective every single day and trying to build relationships. There's a lot to be said about that. I've told you a million times. I know you want to be on the show. You've auditioned for the show many times. I'll never audition for the show. I love the show, but I'll never audition for the show because I'd be a lousy contestant, frankly. It's just as simple as that. I understand who I am. I know I would go out there and it would be a disaster for me. So, you know who you are sometimes, but even though that's my stance, that I'm never going to go out there and play Survivor, I'm a Survivor watcher. I'm a Survivor devotee in a different way. The fact of the matter is, I do admire these people, and we've met many of them. We've
interviewed
many of them, and we'll probably continue to do that if we keep doing this for years on end. We've been doing it nearly 10 years. You see that these people are a special breed, and being on that show, especially the ones that go deep into the game, You know, they're unique. They're really, really unique. It is not an easy thing to do by any stretch. So, major, bow
Of
props
course.
to the survivors, and the fact that they stepped up and beat Jeff, and that 4 people could outlast him. I mean, advantage Jeff there, you would think. Didn't turn out that way at all.
No, and I don't know how Bret would feel about this. We'll get his thoughts, I'm sure, next week. He'll give a little bit from this previous week and whatever the current episode is. I thought it was when they teased that Jeff was getting involved. I'm like, is it like a gimmick? Like after the challenge is over, he says, "I can do it too," and like how are they going to do it? And I didn't have this on my bingo card at all for what could happen. And to be honest, round of applause to Survivor. I thought there was a cute, different, interesting. It was dramatic when he released the box and they had it perfectly fall, and people were like, "Oh my god, what the hell's going on here? What is this?" Cool.
I like that.
And then I thought one of my favorite parts was, if you are an OG Survivor fan, right? There's been 50 seasons. Some of you probably have only seen the new era. Some has been there since day one. Jeff used to be Spicy Jeff, like way back in the day. He used to trash. I mean, they did a montage of it, which was hilarious, of like, my grandma could throw better. Like, he was nasty. And just sort of over time, I don't know if he's just gotten soft with age. He doesn't rip people like that anymore. There's a shot every once in a while, but it's nothing like it was. So when Jeff is doing this and holding on and people are talking trash as they're going over to him, yeah, way to go, Jeff. Oh, he's readjusting his grip. It looks like it's slipping. I thought that was fun.
Yeah, I thought it was fun too. I like the twist. I know there's this thought of Jeff getting involved, and sometimes I think a lot of fans, Bret included, has been very outspoken over the years about Bret, about Jeff, having too much control of the game, becoming the center of attention too much. I thought it actually worked in this one, so I had no issues with it. Like I said, we'll have Bret back next week. I want to get his take on this, certainly. Did he like it? Did he not like it? Did he find it entertaining? And you know what was really cool about it? How Jeff was literally whining and complaining. This is hurting my wrists, oh, it's better.
This is heavier than I thought. Right.
Like it was interesting to hear him,
a normal person,
right? A normal person just dealing with the pain and having to talk their way through it a little bit. I mean, I think I'll tell you what, I would have been exactly like Jeff, because me, I always articulate everything. Yeah. I'd be like, oh, this really hurts. How are you doing this? Like, hey, how did you do that? I can't believe you did that. He was saying all kinds of goofy stuff.
Yeah.
It was kind of fun.
Again, Jeff is in really great shape, so maybe it's unfair to compare him to the common person off the couch. But the person off the couch sees challenges from home, and I know, because I've said it when I was younger and even in the past, like, I could do that. Like, what are you guys doing? And to see Jeff, in theory, come off the couch to do a challenge like this, and he's like, oh boy, I thought this was this. To me, that was super interesting. Lurch, let's get into Avion's comment here from Twitter, because Jimmy Fallon was involved in two respects. So first off, right, Christian gets elected to go on the journey. He goes on the journey. He goes out to basically an island challenge that's floating, and this is season 47, so one that has come back. And I thought it was great in season 47, so I'm glad that they brought it back here, where he has to solve a puzzle in a very limited amount of time. And for dramatics, instead of using an hourglass,
weights dropping into the ocean with the rope. That was cool. I love that.
Smart on the Survivor people, right? Because what is that? It's an hourglass, but it's just presented differently. It's time running out, and instead, the rope is slowly dropping, and then a weight sploosh, and then another one, and it's in your head. Because like an hourglass, unless you look at it, you don't know how much time's going by. So the dramatics of how they set that up, beautiful. Again, round of applause to Survivor. That's a super cool way to do it. And then we saw the difference, right? Season 47, Rachel does her version. It wasn't the same puzzle challenge, but she does a puzzle challenge. She wins that challenge and ends up winning the game and does the whole thing. We see Christian on the other side, what everyone would say is a super smart guy. Oh, puzzle. This is a simple puzzle. It's the logo of the season. Like, oh, he should be able to do this. And the fact that he couldn't. So, but the Jimmy Fallon advantage, no advantage that was thrown in there is that ultimately, as we talked about, that as he found out when he lost in front of everybody, that he didn't have the benefit of lying to the tribe when he came back. He had to read, if he lost, this thing that said he had to vote for himself. That has never happened in Survivor history before. So that was an advantage in itself that happened there. So, we've had a lot of different celebrity twists. I guess we sort of have to attack them as they come. Like this Mr. Beast thing, we can try to predict later. But like right now, the Jimmy Fallon twist, were you a fan or not a fan?
I didn't love the Boomerang Idol, the Billie Eilish Boomerang Idol. I don't know. I just thought that was
Okay.
kind of goofy. So that I didn't really love.
I love the concept. I thought that was cool.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. It just didn't vibe with me, but to each his own.
Yeah, of course.
It just didn't do anything for me. Like the idol going back to someone later, and then it didn't really come back to anyone, or at least so
because
far
they were eliminated. Everyone was eliminated
yeah.
that it would have come back.
You like to see those things work,
of course.
Not just disappear, and it just like it appeared and then just disappeared. So
okay,
I guess
Zach Brown.
What I didn't like about it. Zach Brown, I dug. I mean, I just thought he was very genuine out here on the island. I love the way they shot him spearfishing. I mean, I don't
the
think
custom reward, right?
Right. The guy came out there with serious gear, and obviously he is a spear fisherman. I mean, he knows how to
get a bazooka launcher.
Yeah, it was awesome though. I mean, I was digging that, man. I was like, I want to go spear fishing with Zach Brown now. So
sure,
I thought that was really, really
okay.
Cool.
So that part you liked, okay?
Yeah.
So thumbs up on Zach Brown.
Yeah, I mean, I have no. First of all, I thought the challenge. I don't know. Jimmy Fallon probably wasn't involved in designing the challenge, but as you just said, the design of the challenge was fabulous. And to see someone like Christian, by the way, who is generally a good puzzle person, I thought, he's definitely gonna do this.
But the pressure of the moment,
perfect thing. But I don't even say pressure of the moment. I'm sure that was part of it. I honestly think Christian just looked trashed. Like I don't mean drunk trashed. I mean like he just looked spent. Like he's limping around. He's not moving well. He's thin as a rail to begin with, and now he's even thinner. Like he just looked like it's been taken it out of him. And I just think when you have it taken out of you like that physically, you are just not mentally sharp. I think you give Christian you give him 3 days of meals, bring him back on that thing and give him that same challenge. And I bet you he beats it by a minute. All right.
Probably.
You never even get to that last rope, even getting close before he's already solved it. I just think it was fatigue that he couldn't complete it. And I did really dig the fact that he didn't know what he was going to have to read other than there's going to be something bad. And then he had to bring it back to the tribe and read it because every journey ends the same way. What's the story they're going to make up? And even the people that are telling the truth when they come back from the journey get the eye rolls and the, right. Like nobody believes you, whether you tell the truth or not. So you're always better, by the way. This is my rule of thumb for all survivors, all future survivors out there. Listen to the Manchild. I'm preaching here. All right. Just lie when you come back from the journey because they don't believe you when you tell the truth.
That's
so
a good
just
point.
lie anyway and let them all think that you're lying. That's the way to do it because nobody wants to believe. Everybody thinks you're hiding something or there's something else. There's another twist. And people have been genuinely honest and like, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
So I liked it. I had no problems with it. Obviously, we're not seeing Jimmy Fallon, but I thought it was a cool thing. And I looked at trying to, they're always trying to be creative with this show and to try to get other people involved. And we know there are some celebrities out there that are super fans, right? Sia, right? With
for sure.
1 year, and she's done a few things over the years. So there are super fans. So I'd like to believe that Jimmy is a super fan. And I was okay with it. No issues with it at all.
I'll tell you, Avion, that before the season, when I heard celebrities were in it, it was, I don't know if disappointing was the right word, but maybe that's the right flavor of sort of what I'm going for. Season 50 for any OG Survivor fan was this seismic season that really didn't need celebrity involvement to spice it up. This is an ode to Survivor fans, not random casuals that are like, oh, Survivor 50, what's that? Like, to me, I'm sure Survivor themselves are trying to capture anyone, so those people included. But to me, season 50 is a special tip of the cap to the history of the game. So I didn't think it needed celebrity gizmos and gadgets. But now that that's how I felt at the beginning. But now that it's playing out, to your point, Lurch, it gets it in front of, whether we agree or disagree, it goes in front of bigger audiences. Billie Eilish fans are like, what the hell, Survivor? Zach Brown fans are like, what's the hell, Survivor? If they didn't know Survivor already, which I would assume, a lot of these people don't. Jimmy Fallon fans perhaps are getting introduced to Survivor. So we're getting involved with even more people. And Jeff has said this in the past. They're going to try things. Some things are going to work. Some things aren't going to work. And they put it from there.
Yeah, here's a great handle. We'll go to this one next before we continue talking about this episode. Low-key Valkyrie. Love the handle. Slightly off topic, but has anyone called out Rizzo for being the youngest player and male and seemingly never trying hard in immunity challenges? Does he just feel safe? LOL. What are your thoughts about Rizzo and how he plays this game, Borgren? We saw this in his first season as well, though, season 49, where, he just is content with just being Rizzo and saying, oh, look, I'm a strategy player, and that's where it begins and ends. And, he doesn't give it much when it comes to the challenges, that's for sure. And certainly he's not doing much around camp either.
Yeah, definitely not. To me, I think the proper way to describe this, and beautiful job here by Low Key Valkyrie, is it's the male version of Sandra, right? Like
Right.
Sandra doesn't even pretend to be interested,
Yep.
and um, you know, and to Sandra's point, while she catches a little bit of flack, relatively speaking, but like people sort of just pass it over, go, whatever.
Right.
Like Rizzo, it is interesting, low key Valkyrie, that Rizzo is like, you know, not catching really any heat out, and the people he got heat from are gone. Colby going, this lazy piece of crap,
No.
like he's gone. Even the OGs of Dragon Slayer, Jonathan, who are like wise sages looking over him,
Really
Dragon Slayer's gone, and Jonathan's too busy frying his own fish, so he can't even worry about Rizzo's laziness anymore. So it is, to your point, and to be honest, all the things that you brought up, Loki Valkyrie, to be honest with you, it's surprising that he's been able to assimilate. So you got this super young kid, arrogant as all hell, calling him Rizgod, giving himself his own nickname, and that he knew none of these people outside of knowing them as super fans. They didn't know him. That he's been able
right
to
on his back immediately.
Yeah, and I heard Dragon Slayer doing some press, and he said he told everybody right from the beginning, right? There's all these people that did pre-season alliances, like, hey, me and you, we're going to link up if we get on the island and the right opportunity presents itself. He said their plan was to, when they heard about these new 49 people, like, yeah, let's squash these people like bugs. Savannah, Rizzo out immediately. And the fact that that was sort of on the precipice, and that was like on people's forefronts, and still he remains in the game, and we just passed day 18 or something. Super impressive. I didn't pick him on my fantasy team. I know Brett did. We'll get back to the fantasy draft later. Yeah, he must feel safe. He's a arrogant / confident, I guess depends on your perspective, kind of guy, and he's done very well. Look at him. He's paired up with Suri, who's in one of the best positions in the game. He's paired up with Ozzy, who's a meathead, that like a huge body shield, meat shield, whatever you want to call it. So Rizzo's in a really good position. What will be the challenge for Rizzo if he makes it to final tribal at the end is convincing all these big name people that he was the one pulling triggers. He didn't just ride coattails to the end, and that people don't look at him like this some young stupid kid and he didn't do anything. Like that will be on Rizzo. He seems to be a good talker, so he's going to have to sort of convince it.
Well, interesting. I mean, wasn't tonight, if I remember it right, I think I got this right, he's not going to get big credit for this, but remember, they seemed to be swapping to Emily, and then Rizzo was out there trying to get a groundswell and say, no, this is the time to take out Christian, and as it turns out, Christian did get taken out. So the vote did go the way that Rizzo wanted it to go. Now, I don't think he was the reason per se, but he can, dare I say, that's, it did go the way he wanted. He did not want Emily out. He wanted Christian out, and Christian did go home. So, and look, there's plenty of time still for moves, and he definitely is a strategic player. So he's going to try to make big moves. The question is he going to be able to make them against the right people? Like if he could somehow get Suri out, now you got a whole load of respect. If he could somehow get Ozzy out without Suri knowing, that would be, the kind of move that wins you Survivor, when you do that kind of stuff and then put that person, whichever one isn't eliminated, completely in the minority and the whole thing is flipped. So he'd have to pull off one of those big ones, I think, to have a chance to win this game in the end. He's still in it and could win it, but I think he's in a place where he's going to have to make a big, big move.
And he has to maintain the numbers, right? So
correct.
Suri has so many connections that if you attempt to go for the queen and you don't have the pieces and she finds out you're going for the queen, she's going out for you and you're out. So you have to have the right numbers. And then, she can't find out, especially if you're talking about, hey, taking out her kingpin, which is Ozzy. If you take him out, Ozzy is indebted to Suri to do anything, and he was indebted to Suri first before Rizzo. Suri made the Rizzo connection backwards, so it'd be very interesting. But yeah, obviously you got to make moves to win the game. So yeah, good luck to anyone who goes after Suri.
All right, keep the comments coming, folks. You can just jump right in the comments. This is indeed a live show, so we'd love for your questions, your comments, your thoughts. Also, if you're not already a subscriber to our channel, not only do we Survivor content, but we do all kinds of sports content during the week. There's the link right there, youtube.com/@MC Show Digital. I know you might be watching in one of several portals because we put this out in several of our social media portals. But that's the link, and that's the spot where you want to subscribe to our channel. We'd love for you to be part of our growing community. We've only been here in the digital world for about 9 months, but this is based off of a radio show that was on the air here in Central New York for nearly 25 years. So we've been around for forever. We've been covering Survivor for about 10 years, believe it or not. And now we're doing it on this digital side. And if you're tuning in late, Bret LaBelle, unfortunately, under the weather tonight. We wish him well. He will be back with us next week. So get well soon, Bret. So we're handling all of our business tonight without Bret LaBelle for the first time in a long time. So a little different tonight for sure.
Very much so. And yes, so I just want to reiterate a few points here because I see we have over 400 people in the room. And thank you guys for tuning into the Survivor episode recap show. So as you can hopefully see by the indication of the headline, this is not our first time doing this. We've been recapping episodes for essentially a decade, but this is our first season in video form. So if you like what you're hearing, and feel free, like Lord said, to get involved in the comment section, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. We have a special playlist that's for Survivor interviews. That's during season with Bret LaBelle. It'll be pre and post seasons for varying things of talking to other castaways. So again, we do this every single week shortly after the episode. Next week, I believe, is a 2-hour episode. So we will accommodate and shift the schedule of our recap to make sure that the full episode plays before we speak. So if that's going to end up being the 2-hour episode, we'll probably come on 10:05, 10:10, 10:15, somewhere in that range to recap the full thing. So really exciting that we're finally here in video form and this beautiful beach, thanks to Gator McCluskey out there. It looks great aesthetically.
Hey, Boy Green, I was wondering about this one. You mentioned in some of the rhetoric going around and some of the things that are being said this season in Survivor. Tonight, Stephanie said, and we caught it on the preview last week, the Boy Green line. This is the Boy Green line. I know you didn't originate it, but you use this line all the time. If you ever get on Survivor, you want to be the next Russell Hantz, and you're going to use this line for sure. But Stephanie said, I'm going to bring him in close, and then I'm going to slit their throats. So Stephanie's a little fired up right now. It didn't come to fruition tonight. Things were it was kind of an obvious-ish, whoever was going to go, an obvious elimination. But we're going to get to some very interesting ones coming up, and we'll see if Stephanie does have her way. She's playing the game pretty well as well, even though she's on that Loyalist Alliance, which has shrunken a bit since Coach and Trissy got knocked off last week. That really gave this alliance a big, big blow.
For sure. And, I am 32. I turned 33 in a couple of days, which may suggest, if you just look at someone's age, that I should be a new era guy because I'm younger. But to me, I am totally an old school guy. So Stephanie is part of the old school alliance. So I lean towards automatically rooting for those people over new era. It's not always that black and white, but Stephanie in particular, she is an OG. And so are a lot of these people that are still on the island, to which I love a lot, from Sari to Ozzy. And unfortunately, Dragon Slayer is no longer with us on this season. But yeah, I prefer the old schoolers. I did hear that line and immediately smile because that's the line I love. And hey, sometimes it's about planting seeds, and that's her message. She was totally pissed, right? Because they lost Chrissy and Dragon Slayer. That's when you're Battleship, if you've ever played that in the audience and you get 2 hits in a row to your ship, you're like, oh, it's a devastating blow. And now you know that they're closing in. There's blood in the water. Like now well, if they got 2 in a row, are they going to go up, down, left, right? Because if they pick the right one, your ship's going down. So she senses the urgency. She senses the danger that currently exists. But sometimes when you back an animal into a corner, that's when you get the most ferocious, intense, I've got nothing to lose. You sort of saw a little bit of that in the preview of next week's episode. That's what Devin seemingly told Emily, like, what are we going to do? Just go out one by one? Let's freaking go. Let's light this place on fire and see if we could cause some drama. So I love seeing that from Stephanie.
Yeah, that was pretty fascinating. So we'll see if that comes to fruition in the coming attractions. Coming attractions are always nice and titillating. They always pick a couple of really cool things to go at it in those coming attractions. So we're going to see more Rick Devens chaos. That is for sure. That is definitely coming. Go ahead. Go to the next comment.
All right. Yeah, let's get a new comment in here just coming in. So appreciate that.
Name. Lord Troglodyte. Go for it.
Oh, yeah, that's a great name. Amazing how everyone is seemingly letting and watching Sari play her social game and dog walk everyone. Who do you think her ultimate number one is? Ozzy? If she's at the end, she wins, in my opinion. So a couple of layers here. First off, the time to get Sari out was, if you go all the way back, right? We're already on episode 9, so it feels like forever ago. But she was in danger episode 1. It was her or Jenna Lewis. And, there seemed to be a lot of fire. And I'm like, oh my God, am I about to lose Sari on episode 1? I'm like, oh, good Lord. But Sari is so good that her social game, that she was able to do whatever she had to do to survive. And then that one risk of danger, she's been perfectly in the middle, away from any of the flames since. And so she's done a masterful job. So they nearly got her out at the beginning. But again, that's also why you let her stay in the game and she can really sink her roots in. I would say it's not always this way in terms of loyalty, but obviously Sari connected with Ozzy first before she had the Rizzo connection this season. I think she's playing him like a puppet, with all due respect. She's giving him what he needs. He's giving her what she needs.
Exactly.
Ozzy lacks strategic elements to his game. He always has. He's somewhat blinded by that. He's obviously still a challenge beast. Inevitably, maybe he's going to tie Boston Rob and overtake him on the all-time challenge list. He nearly did it tonight against Joe. But, Sari is clearly playing him like a fiddle, because Ozzy, when they said, oh, maybe we should split tonight, he's like, yeah, what should we do, Sari? And she's like, whisper, do this. So it's perfect. It's perfect for Sari, and we'll get into, I have Sari and why I feel very good about her. Everyone says Ozzy before Sari. So he's being a physical beast, which is a distraction for Sari. And then he is internally loyal to Sari because he's helping her. She's helping him, socially, saying, ooh, did you hear that someone was talking about you? Hey, Jonathan, you hear someone was talking about you? And in theory, to Ozzy, he's like, wow, she's looking out for me. She's my guardian angel. And then I just think that's going to indent her forever. So could she just remain 100% loyal, bring Ozzy to the end? Because she's like, at the end, I'm going to slit his throat in front of everybody and explain how I've been making every key decision this entire time, and I dog walked him here. There's a strong case to be made. So a great comment. Excuse me.
Some growth from Joe today. Did you see that little scene with Joe, where by not losing his cool with Devins, they were having that interesting conversation on the log there. Mm-hmm. Joe trying to keep his cool because Rick Devins, Devins is an instigator.
Oh, yes. That's a perfect word.
He's a very much he comes across a lot of, and he's done well in this game, but he's done it through treachery, or being incredibly clever and finding idols and doing all the crazy stuff that he does, fake idols, just outmaneuvering people. But it was interesting to see Joe kind of keep his cool, because Devins was trying to poke him. He was trying to poke the bear, man. He was trying to get Joe to lose his temper, to be like, yeah, screw you,
I heard from multiple sources you were trying to get me out.
Yeah, I heard this. And he was just trying to bait Joe. And Joe, again, this is another good example. We've mentioned this about several players this season, of players bringing a different game. We've mentioned it with Jonathan this year. He's been much more aggressive this season, much more in the mix, devious, as to what's going on. Even plotting and scheming, which he certainly didn't do in his prior season. And now we're seeing Joe playing the game a little bit more, understanding, okay, I could still be the nice guy, but I can't lose my temper when I really am angry with people. I got to just maintain my cool, stick to my guns, stick to my story. And I don't know whether Devins believed him or not, but it was good progress for Joe. I thought that was kind of cool.
No, for sure. Devins, there is a instigator, perhaps is just the best word. There's like a cattiness. There's he likes the drama, the gossip of a potential fight, and what the ripple effects could potentially be for that. So good for Joe. But that is one of those ones where keep your friends close and your enemies closer. Hey, you want to hug it out? Yeah, sure. And then you're just hugging. And then it's a little bit, if anyone saw, I won't swear on this show, but if you saw Last Dance between Larry Bird and Michael Jordan, their conversation with one another, you know what I'm talking about. By the way, just because you were mentioning it with Jonathan, Savage, what did you think of Jonathan? So Krishnan gets voted out, and then he's grabbing his torch. He's sort of oh my God, I'm out. And then Jonathan comes up to him and says, hey, here's your shot in the dark back. That he stabbed him in the back and used the shot in the dark to make sure, even though he couldn't have used a shot in the dark anyway because of the Jimmy Fallon rule of him having to vote for himself. But giving it back, in one way you could perceive it as, oh, what a nice gesture. He gets to keep the shot in the dark forever because Jonathan could chuck that in the ocean. That's a cool souvenir he will have forever to remember his game. But on another hand, it's a little as Christian is at his lowest point of just getting voted out, and the vulnerabilities, and saying, hey, buddy, by the way, screw you. Here's your thing. So it could be perceived both ways. And again, perception can often be reality.
How do you think that he meant it? Because that's what I was trying to read, is what was Jonathan doing there? Was he trying to kind of gain a little bit of favor with Christian and say, thanks for giving this to me, I'm sorry it didn't work out, and get his potential vote on the jury? Or was he saying, catch you later? You know,
it was that.
And I'm not sure, because Jonathan didn't really give it away one way or the other.
Right, with facial expressions or anything.
Reaction
right.
wasn't very emphatic. He was just kind of out of it. And like I said, I just felt like Christian was really weak, just physically weak. He just wasn't sharp, you know, in this episode at all. And it was kind of fading. He was kind of fading a little bit in this game physically, and that was affecting his mental acuity a little bit. So, but that was interesting. And I don't know which way Jonathan intended that. You know, you could read it either way.
Right, which I think plays poorly in front of the jury if they're like, wow, he was really a jerk out of his way for that. So I don't know if that's going to be received the way he intended, or maybe sometimes you just do something you don't care how it's perceived. You're like, hey, screw you, buddy. But the way
how much good Devins did last week affected what everybody was talking about coming back from Tribal and the early part of this episode. It was all about Devins. What was that showboating? That's Devins. You know he's going to do that nonsense. Right. That didn't play well with this particular group of people, which could in the end be his demise. Go ahead.
So I'm not sure if earlier action history repeats itself or spurs to that. This isn't a perfect rap for that, but
right.
Jeff, you know, as he's telling, like, okay, the speaking is done. You guys each go to the, you know, voting booth and cast your vote. And he goes, Josh, Fred, this person. He's like, Christian, like, go up. And we all know that Christian has to vote for himself. So, like, he's going up there. There's no drama. Yeah. And Jonathan was going,
I know, yeah.
And I was like, what a jerk. So, like, I see that vision in my head. And then even though he wasn't doing that literally when he handed the shot in the dark to old Christian, how is that not a screw you, buddy?
Yeah.
See ya.
I tend to think if I had to guess, it was what you said. The
I think it is.
I think it is. You know, but, you know, look, Jonathan, you know, they got beat up last week with the two loyalists going home, and Kobe before that. I mean, it's just been a rough bunch of weeks for that loyal tribe that once was so strong with Joe and Coach and Kobe and, you know, and Jonathan and now Jonathan's out there trying to survive, and it's really a question of where's the common ground between him and some of these other players. Can he find the common ground? I don't know if it's.
There is some arrogance.
You know, there's enough left. Go ahead.
Right. Because there's some arrogance. Because remember, he's like, I want another notch on my belt. Yeah. I'm carrying around severed heads around my waist. Hey, here's D over here. Here's Christian over here. I'm like, oh, what a sick bastard. But like, again, in the same thing. That was good.
Again, but if he ever gets in front of the jury, he will be able to play that a little bit. And I think for the most part, it's pretty true. Like, he has put some notches in his belt without anybody truly realizing it. Now, he's not solely responsible, but he does have some notches in his belt that he'll be able to use as ammunition if he gets to the end. We'll see. It doesn't look like he's going to get to the end, but we'll see if he does get to the end or not.
Hey, we were giving a shout out earlier to this individual for the beautiful beach that we have here. So let's get a couple of Gator comments in here. First, he says, who do you guys think is lined up best at this point to win? Do you think they will ever bring back hot chicks? LOL. Sorry, I'm hung up on that. And people can perceive that however they want.
He wasn't hot enough for him. You know, Genevieve didn't do it.
She is pretty, but no, to be honest, if we're honest with each other, right? Like, it's entertainment, it's television. Of course, it's certainly back in the day, and that goes to what Gator says of bringing them back. You want to bring hot people together and preferably single. So it spurs action. Boston, Rob, and Amber, right? Some of it leads to marriage. Some of it's just harmless flirtation on the beach. Sure. So, you know, if you put 20 hot single people all on an island together, you know, you roll the dice.
That's the show Love Island, Boy Green, in case you haven't seen that one yet, all right?
Which, by the way, apparently is recorded in the island next door, which is interesting in Fiji. Yes. So I've heard some Survivor castaways say if they go to the right part of the island, they can overhear some craziness happening from across the way, which is hilarious. I think
Love Island on Survivor, though, and I don't think it's ever gone to that extent, but there have certainly been some very, very attractive women over the years on Survivor, no question about it.
But it layers out beautifully to me. So sure, eye candy to watch on television. Everyone loves watching attractive people more than ugly people. But no, I think it adds layers, right? Because, you know, again, to use Boston, Rob, and Amber, I guess, if you develop a relationship with someone, whether you think it's just flirtational or it's serious, now people perceive you as a power duo. You to that person, now you have to make tough ethical decisions about, I need to do what's best for me, but what's best for me is not best for us and not for you. And then now that creates drama for the viewer, like, oh, wow, what are they going to choose? So it does add more drama, certainly when they can do it. So that's interesting. I think they will bring back hot people, to your point, Gator. It's certainly coming up in the future, but they have all these rules now with how they're casting, which is much different than it used to be. And Lurch, have you said who do you think is lined up best to win the game?
No. So let's talk about that for a second. Answer his question on the front end of that. I think we're going to answer the same person, in all honesty. I mean, I think
let's
there
pull
are
up the board, I guess.
Yeah, go ahead. Pull up the board. That'll help a little bit. It doesn't have everybody, but it has at least all our people. Yeah,
all our people, yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, still on our board, Ozzy, Rizzo, Devin, Sari, and Joe are who we have left now. I'm pretty dead in the water, I think.
Okay, so let's go piece by piece. So we'll start with your team. Again, I was telling you, I can't remember if this was off or on air, but Joe's not in a phenomenal position, but he's not in a terrible position.
Right.
I think if he makes it through, and obviously he's a challenge beast and he can use that whenever he wants, he's sort of evolving as a player. We talked about that socially and how he's improving in some of those areas as the game's going on. If he makes it to final with the right combination of people, and you look at the jury and see how many friends he has over there, who knows, man? Like, Joe is an easy guy, I would assume, if I'm just a jury member, to root for. He is a family man. He has, for people who don't know, you can Google, and actually I believe it's on Netflix as well. He has an incredibly impactful domestic violence story inside his family that is.
And you heard him talking about it during the challenge tonight again, calling on on that person in his family that, inspires him. Give me the strength. Give me the strength. So, yeah, Joe's a compelling story, and I think he seems certainly very likable to me. Very, very.
Yeah, he's a firefighter. Like, he just, again, if I was on the jury and he's one of the finalists, I'm like, man, how do you not, like, wow, he's likable. He's a loyalty guy. That's OG, old school. So, like, again, I don't think you're completely dead in the water. I wouldn't bet my house on Joe being your first winner ever in Survivor history, but it's not like you have Emily and I'm like, you have zero chance whatsoever. I think you have somewhat of a chance. Let's go to Bret here. I think Ozzy and Rizzo, quite frankly, are both in really good positions.
Sure.
Ozzy's more front facing, and that can help and hurt because like people are constantly thinking of Ozzy. Rizzo, you have to like think about, like, because you wouldn't think about him automatically. So, like, he's sneaky behind the scenes, and he's not the first person you think of, especially with all the other big names on the beach. But I can't lie. Bret's in a phenomenal position. Ozzy or Rizzo could totally win this season, and I wouldn't be surprised by either. Any thoughts on Bret's team?
Yeah, no, I mean, I think they're both in the mix, but I think Ozzy is, as you were saying earlier, kind of a meat shield for Sari when it all comes down to it. And if Sari, I think, could take him right to the end, then she'd whoop him. I just don't think it's going to matter what Ozzy does because of the social game that Sari has been put together, the amount of time she's been on the show and has never won, and having navigated and all the alliance that she formed that she'd be able to talk about in Final Tribal if she gets there. And then for Rizzo, like I said earlier, Rizzo could still win this game, but there's only one way, in my opinion, for Rizzo to win this game. He's got to take out Sari. He's got to take the queen out. And
at the right time.
It's be easy because she is very well aligned. Very well aligned. And she's getting information from everybody. And it's going to be really hard for Rizzo to backdoor that and find a way and get enough numbers and nobody says a word and she gets blindsided. That's going to be tough.
To me, not so sure, right? Getting rid of Sari and having that on your resume is incredibly powerful. But once you knock that chess piece off the board, you're the most targeted chess piece. So you have to do it at the right timing, especially if Ozzy exists beyond Sari and you take out Sari first. Ozzy's going to come after you with bloodlust because Sari's like a sister, mother, whatever you want to call that relationship with him. So you have to take her out at the right time, and that's dangerous because it's hard to take her out at any time, let alone the right time. And then looking at my group, I can be bluntly honest here. I love Devins. He was one of my favorites. I wanted him to see him. He is absolutely toast. Hopefully he makes it a lot of fun because that's what Devins does. He's an exciting, sociable guy. And so I'm sure he's going to give us a few more laughs, but his chance of winning this game are negative 20,000%. So he's not red here, but he's red in our hearts. So Devins is totally done. But Sari, and we've talked about it.
She's number one. I think we would both really good position. If we had to pick one, we'd both pick her, right? I mean, I think if we had Bret on tonight, he'd say the same thing. I think all three of us still feel at this point it's Sari, but there are a lot of episodes to go and a lot of things can happen. So the
Hey.
hay's not in the barn, as they say.
Gator
Right?
McCluskey's putting his money on you based on the names that are on here. So he is a Joe fan. He says, "Look at this. I think Joe is absolutely a favorite now. Wouldn't shock me if he won." So there you go. You talk about
Love you,
perceptions
Thank you.
of things coming up here. Lurch, let's go randomly off topic, and we could do this every once in a while. I see we have other Survivor questions, guys. We'll get to all your questions, I promise. But some people may not know about your connection with Bond, and he sees the shirt Bond in Motion, which we'll make full screen here in a second. He says, "Love the Bond shirt." Off topic. Who is your hope for the next Bond? I'm hearing who said Jacob Elordi? Is that how you pronounce it?
Yes, I've heard that name.
Okay. Rumors of Sydney Sweeney as the next Bond girl. Whoa, Mamacita. There's your hot girl that you're looking for.
There's your hot girl you want, Gator.
There you go.
Some Sydney Sweeney.
Yeah, but Lurch, can you explain? Oh, yeah. Well, I guess it's better the other way because we can see your shirt. But Bond in Motion, explain your connection to Bond. I think you've told this story on the radio, but I think it'd be cool for
well, I'm a huge James Bond fan, first of all. I've seen every movie a million times. I love the whole Bond thing. I love gadgets. I love cars. I love spy movies. So everything about Bond, is what I love to watch. So that's number one. And then you throw in the savoir faire and the fact that they've kept it alive all these years using different characters. And we've talked about who our best Bonds ever were.
Daniel Craig.
You'd asked me 10 years ago, I would have sworn Sean Connery, and no one's ever going to beat Sean Connery.
I'm a Daniel Craig guy.
Not only is he the original guy, no, I'm talking Connery was my guy 10 years ago.
Yeah.
So nobody's going to be better than Sean Connery. And then along came Daniel Craig, and I don't know, he just flipped me. There's something, he's so it's like you never saw him coming,
Yeah, very smooth operator.
Lighter colored hair, just not a typical Bond.
Very seriousness about him.
Guy, right? Yeah. Seriousness, not cheeky at all like Roger Moore.
No.
He's just a terrific actor.
Oh,
and I just think he played it really, really well. So he's become my new Bond favorite.
Me too.
I mean, I think it's too late in the game now. But Idris Elba has been mentioned.
Yes, I've heard that. Yeah.
I just think he's getting too old now. Like
how old is he? Let me look that up.
If they had done him, when they were going to do Craig, then it probably would have fit. But he's getting up there. He's getting some grays.
53.
Yeah. All right. That's not too bad. But I don't know. Look, a lot of the Bonds always had other people do their stunts anyway.
Yeah. Daniel Craig is 58.
Craig did a lot of his own. He's crazy. He's like Tom Cruise out there, banging his knees up and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
right.
So I kind of like that Idris Elba idea, but that might not be there. To be honest with you, I don't got to do a little research for you, Gator, to come up with one. Maybe by next Survivor episode, I could come up with a couple of names. I have been reading up that they've been looking at some different people. Nobody has really stood out in that list yet. So EBD, as they say. But thanks for the compliment. Yeah, and the Bond shirt, by the way, this Bond in Motion shirt. I went to Saratoga, I think it was 2 years ago, during the beautiful summer months, the late summer months when the horse racing is up at the Saratoga racetrack there. It's only 2.5 hours from central New York here where we live in Syracuse. And I hadn't been to Saratoga in a long time. And I went with my wife, and we were seeing the sights and doing some things. And when we were there, they have the car museum there, the auto museum, which has all these cool old cars and these old car inventions. And the week I was there, or the period of time, I think I was there for about a month, there was a James Bond car
cool.
display.
From the movies, right?
Yeah. So it was like the specialty display. Like they always have certain things, and then they always have a specialty thing. This one was called Bond in Motion. And so, I'm a James Bond. I was like, honey, why don't we go to this? It looks kind of interesting. I didn't know what I was really walking into.
Right.
To be honest with you, it was just a random thing. Like we were staying in a hotel that was right in this park where the museum was. It was a stone throw. We'll walk up to it. I think we bicycled up to the museum with these little electric bikes that we rode to the park, parked outside the museum, went in, and I was like, what the heck? It was all the Bond cars.
Cool.
The Aston Martin. I got pictures, right leaning against the Aston Martin or right in front of the line, at least as close as they'd let me get to some of these cars. Some of them were kind of roped off. They didn't want us touching them, but I was getting as close as I could anyway. They had several cars from Die Another Day. Some of them were even shot up. Okay, they were all shot up. They had the car that turned into the submarine, the white car. Submarine.
Yeah.
Was that Live and Let Die? Or trying to remember which one.
Yeah, it was so many, it's hard to keep track.
But, where Roger Moore comes in on this sub car and then drives up onto the land, and it goes from a submarine, turns into a car, and vice versa. That was there. They had the what do they call it? The yucks. So what are those things that they call in Thailand? Those little scooters with the little back. What are they called? Tuk-tuks, maybe. Tuk-tuks, I think maybe. Maybe someone in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. They had that in there that was driven around in a cool scene. Yeah, they had I'm telling you, at least 30 Bond cars and Bond, vehicles of different sorts. That a sub that was used in one of the Bond movies. Cool. So it was really, really cool. I was in my glory. I mean, she knows I watch Bond, but she could care less. And I was just like, I'm gonna get in front of this. Let's do this. Get over there. I was just like a big cornball that day, but it was awesome. And then on the way out, I was like, I'm definitely buying the Bond t-shirt. So I went to the gift shop and paid a little extra, but I love this shirt. And yeah, that was a really, really cool thing. So if that is a traveling show that a couple of years ago, but if you ever see that popping up in a city near you, it is absolutely worth it to go check it out. They've got all kinds of information on the movies, and you could see these cars up close, and they are really, really cool. Just to look at them and say remember that, it's really, really cool. Then when you go back and watch the movies, you're like, holy crap, I stood a foot from that car. Isn't that awesome? So.
And cool. Large, your shirt, I told you this at the time, and it's continued to be proven true. It's a conversation starter.
It really is. Yeah.
James Bond is such a universal thing, no matter what your pop culture references, James Bond, and creates conversations. All right, let's dive into some more Survivor. Again, you guys can keep lighting up the comment section with your questions about tonight's episode or in general about our Survivor fandom or whatever you want. I see we have Anonymous Ever.
That is a tricky one. That's a tricky
I apologize, especially we're now in the YouTube world and they've had a few glitches where now it goes to your handle instead of your whatever your name display is. So I apologize, but Evernominous 6848. It was good to see the growth you mentioned from Joe, but has he done enough to win 50 for the jury? Immunity rule runs are good, but I'm waiting to see him wake up and play more, some plus moves here. Yeah, I don't know why this hasn't been given more credence. So as a diehard Survivor fan, to me, winning challenges and there's so much that's uncertain in Survivor, that's luck and all these other things. When you are on the line, and I'm a competitive sports guy, so maybe that's in my blood, but when you're up against it and you're like, if I don't win immunity, I'm going home, and you win immunity and people have won lots of immunities, and then they get to the end and people are like, yeah, who cares? It's just immunity. How people brush aside the importance of challenge wins and things of that nature. And they're like, yeah, but what about the social? What about this? I think they're all important, but how often challenge wins get sort of discarded to me is incredibly sad. But I do agree it's the immunity wins are cool, but that can't be it. That can't be the only part of your story. I wish he would drive the bus a little more. He feels a little bit too much passenger to me throughout his entire journey. Maybe it's his loyalty thing. I don't know, but I agree with this comment that Joe needs to call it blood on the hands, call it resume building, whatever you want to call it. But he needs to have more control. And hopefully there is a move, because a common question that gets asked at Tribal Council, give us a move that you own, that you're proud of from the season, that you ran the bus, your idea, you drove it, you got other people to jump on board. And if Joe was forced to answer that right now, I don't know what the answer to that question would be, and that's not good.
Yeah, no, I agree. Joe's got work to do. But right now for Joe, it's survival, and then but he's going to have to make some big moves, or some of the people that we've been talking about that we think are potential winners are going to have to get eliminated. Again, if you take out, the people that have earned it so far, then you have less competition. So, can somehow, some way they swing the majority over to the other side. But I think part of the problem with it this season, and me and you have talked about it a lot, even in our texts back and forth during the episodes, is that Cirie is so well aligned with so many different people that she's just finding out everything that's going on in every sector of these alliances. There's almost no person who's, whatever their opinion is, isn't coming back to Cirie from someone else, by the way, who is close to that person and also believes that they're close to Cirie. Meanwhile, Cirie definitely has her pecking order, and nobody's realizing that. Christian found that out the hard way tonight by going to Cirie and talking about Ozzy. Emily was nearly eliminated for the same reason. They don't even know Cerie's aligned with Ozzy. It's like, are you in this game? Like, where? You know what we need on this? I said this last week.
Yeah.
We need, like, why is it that the only person in the history of Survivor that has created a spy shack and a spy nest, all right, is the top who's won it twice? Okay,
Tony,
it's Tony Vlachos. Why is he the only one? I mean, like, all right, you don't have to be as dramatic as Tony, but this is a game where you want to spy on people sometimes to get information, because even the people you think are closest to you could be maneuvering around the fringes with other ideas, and you want to be ahead of the game. That's one of the reasons why Tony has won it twice. Tony is not the most likable person by far to ever play Survivor, but he's smart as a whip, and he has those cop instincts, and he just says, hey, if information isn't coming to me, I'll go get it. How does he do it? He hides in a tree. He creates a shack on the ground. He gets behind people when they're talking in the bush. I mean, come on. There's plenty of places to hide in Survivor. I mean, have these people ever played a game of hide and seek? I mean, get with it, man. Don't just wait for information to come to you. Go get some information. And there are multiple ways to do it. Why nobody besides Tony has generally done that in the history of Survivor is befuddling to me. Completely befuddling.
Yeah, and just to go back to Cerie for a second, with not only does she receive information, it's very Game of Thrones Lord Varys to me that she receives information and then she's immediately able to go on the offensive and say, oh, this person is thinking about targeting me 3 moves from now. Well, I'm slitting their throat right now. Let me turn. So she's getting all this information and she's instructing the right people. She whispers. It's almost like a superpower. She whispers in someone's ear very influentially, which is a domino effect to other people in an alliance to create majority to then eliminate the people that she wants to eliminate. And I think that's the hardest thing in Survivor is the power of influence is, okay, I want Lurch to vote out Bud Poliquin, but how do I convince him and 10 other people to do it and convince them it's best for their game, but I know it's really best for my game? But how do I influence them to be able to do that? Make other people do what I want, but make them think they're doing it because they want. Like, that's the most difficult challenge. And obviously, Cerie's really good at it.
Totally true. It's mind. Some of the things that go on. I mean, again, we get to watch it and we get to see everything that's happening.
Right. We have all the information.
Right. And they don't. So it's easy to do. We do it all the time in sports.
Monday morning quarterback.
Like, come on. Why did the coach call timeout there? What was he thinking? Well, there might have been about 500 other things going through his mind. Like, there's somebody in his headphones screaming this guy over here doing this. We don't even get it.
And time crunch, right? Like, they're making decisions in split seconds. Monday morning quarterback. I had all the time to digest it and everything and then share my opinions on a show. Right. Of course.
So it's all relative. You gotta put it all in the blender and kind of, and let it simmer. But there's no question right now, there are certain people who are in a much better position than others in this game at this point. It still can flip. There's still enough players in the game for it to flip, but it's going to be a very slippery slope, especially with Cerie. To me, she's the heavy favorite right now because of all the connections. And she very, very smartly, without ever saying so, has set up Ozzy to be her shield all the way to the end if she needs him. It's just perfectly set up. Really, really perfectly set up.
And here's a random thing. I was just going through my notes to make sure we didn't miss anything else. We had Emily and Cerie fighting over rice. And I wonder if that's just the thing, Lurch, that, you have this awareness that you're such a big fan of the show, but you're like, I'd never want to apply because you see or have awareness of whatever you have that you think would be extrapolated in a bad way on the island that would result in terrible things. So like this, right? Like, Cerie is a mother. She's played Survivor 1,000 times. And Emily, going to tell her, I'm not really sure that's the right water amount and things of that nature. Like, again, we just talked about awareness that you may have incredibly for yourself that Emily clearly doesn't have at all for herself, because I would think like, wow, someone would take that very rude. You're questioning my right. And it's the most petty, stupid, silly thing of all time we're talking about cooking rice. We're talking about practice. And we're talking about cooking rice and that Emily could poke and prod, which would offend people. And Cerie said, if she said rice one more time, I would have voted her ass out. Like, it just seems, I don't know. Like the thing that people fight over is crazy.
It's crazy. And that's the thing.
But that was hilarious.
And you couple that, Paul, with the fact that, you're, like I said, you're malnourished, you're exhausted. I mean, I need to sleep on a decent bed. I mean, I have a very, very comfortable bed at home. I can't imagine sleeping on logs. I mean, waking up like, oh man, my back is killing me. What, we got a challenge today? God, it's so hot out here. I got bit 5 times on my arm. I would be the biggest complainer. People would be like, shut up, dude. We know. We all have bug bites. We all are tired. We all slept on logs last night. Like, we get it.
It sounds like you'd be entertaining, though, Lurch. So maybe you should apply for the show.
In all the wrong ways, probably.
Well, I guess it's probably true. Yeah.
Oh, good grief! And I mean, I miss a meal. All right, and I'm snapping at my wife, and she's like, "What is with you?" I'm like, I haven't eaten. God, I got to eat. It's like a sugar thing or something. Yeah. And I don't know. I'm malnourished. One meal. These guys are out there starving. I mean, forget it, man. I'd be toast. I'd be a disaster, unfortunately. But that doesn't take away from how great the game is.
Sure.
And again, how I admire the people that take it on. It's really,
respect.
Really remarkable game. All right. How about some final thoughts on this thing? I mean, it's a good episode.
Yes.
I liked it. I thought it was a good episode. I think we've got more good episodes to come. A not so surprising elimination, the way the episode played out. I think it was fairly predictable. It was either probably going to be him or Emily. What about this one, though? We haven't talked about this yet. So Devins obviously has the fake idol, did the whole thing last week, annoyed some people. Then, of course, in Devins-like fashion, he announces, I'm playing it tonight. There's no way I'm going to go home with something stuck in my pocket. And then, of course, he doesn't play it, just like Rizzo did all year, all season, last season. I'm going to play it. Brooklyn never played it. I don't know why people don't. They did put some votes on Devin, so he could, that they should have put a few more on him and eliminated him tonight, in my opinion.
Right, and if he played the idol, Christian goes home.
Correct, and Christian goes home. That's what they should have. They should have split the votes, but they either should have split it even, Steven, so that it would then they could have voted Devins off. All right, or they could have put 5 on him and 4 on Christian. And
so I guess they were just trying to flush it, so they were hoping to get out Christian because they wanted Christian out and him. But yes, I get what you're saying.
But of course, other than stupid Emily, who Devins told what a dope. I mean, that is bound to come out. Idiot. You know it. Everything that's been said to her this whole season has come out. Yeah. He should have kept that quiet.
I would have.
Christian was the only one that knew, and Christian's out. It is back to being a full-fledged secret, and he blabs it to, of all people, Emily.
I would have went to the grave with that.
That's going to be his demise. But where do you think this goes next? Let's just go under the premise that Emily doesn't rat him out. Yeah. Are they still believing that this is a real idol and does indeed this give Devins another week and maybe even another week? Like, where is this going with Devins? Because he has the majority of those people thinking he has a legitimate idol.
Yeah, it's easy to say, we just mentioned this with all the information, how I feel about a situation. But to be honest, I think I would have played it exactly the same way Devins did. So we go back, not to this tribal that just happened tonight, the tribal previously. His butt was on the line. It was him or Dragon Slayer that was going home. He created enough doubt that the idol could be real, that we don't want to blast Devins, and then he votes for one of us and one of us goes home. You know what? Let's just throw it on, coach, and so be it. And there you go. So that survives one night, and he doesn't play the idol. The next time tonight, he says, I'm playing it. You know my history. I always play it. I don't go home with no idols in my pocket. If you're Devins, it's fake. So play it out one more time as strongly as you can. Number one, right, the shock factor. Oh, my God, he just found an idol at Tribal. Is that real? Is that not? Yeah. It's probably real. Let's not mess around with it. Yeah. Then night 2, you're like, all right, now we know he's tossing us. And then he says, hey, I'm playing it tonight. You're like, well, he's playing it tonight. Might as well not waste a vote. So I think it's now lost its power to me. Like, I don't think what I mean by that is now in this 3rd consecutive Tribal where this is in play, I don't think I'm influenced if he says, I might play it, I might not. I'm like, I don't care. If I was going to vote for you, I'm voting for you. If you play your idol, you play your idol. If you don't, you don't. I don't care. Like, I'm creating a situation where rubbers meet road. You're either going home with that idol in your pocket, or you're playing that idol and it's finally out, and we'll deal with whatever the ripple effects are. I just think he's utilized the bullets that are in the gun, but I would have used it the same way because I think that was the only way to play it, to maximize. Again, hopefully in Devin's case, as he explained, that you survive one more night and you get the right ripple effects and your whole game changes. So just keep surviving, and he's done that obviously 2 tribals in a row.
His problem, Paul, is that, and we saw it in the coming attractions again, a nice little clue. So he was scheming in the coming attractions with Emily. All right. Because he's lost his number one. Christian was his number one.
Yeah,
Two of them were tied together. They were going to try to get to the end together in some way, shape, or form. They were both giving each other information. That was actually working fairly well, even though they were in the minority. Now he's working with Emily, who he's already, first of all, revealed his secret to. And she has just been diabolical. And she doesn't know where the alliances are.
Clearly
she
not.
She knows, but she has no clue. So I'm just going to go on the record. We'll see what happens next week. But I'm going on the record right now and saying Emily is going to blab, likely to Suri,
probably
about Devon's idol being fake. Okay, and then that's going to kind of end the luster for Devon's, and they're going to take him out at some point. They know this
probably immediately, because if I don't, I was just going to say, if I know Suri the way I do, I don't. I've never met her in my life, but knowing of her game, if she gets the information from Emily that idol is complete BS, 1,000%, and she knows that Emily's a blabbermouth, so she knows that it's true and that it came from Devon's, and then I let Devon's think that we're all influenced by the idol, and you just club him over the back of the head with a rock at the next available opportunity and just remove that chess piece from the board, especially with Christian on the jury. Christian and Rick are best friends. I'm not going to even play with that and influence. Let's just get rid of him immediately, which sucks for me because he's on my team, of course, but no, that's where I think it's going to go. Yeah, Devon's is most likely next out.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, the writing's on the wall for that. In the next vote or two, he's going to be toast. And what was also good tonight, Paul, that happened for that group, that Suri group, and control of the game, continuing to be in that group, is that Emily didn't get a vote tonight. So we know behind the scenes there were a lot of people thinking about voting Emily, and they were going back and forth. She has no idea about any of that at this point, and I don't think anybody's going to leak it to her.
Right.
So she comes out of that tribal feeling good about things, other than, Christian's out, but her and Christian, it was on and off anyway.
Yeah.
No, they were kind of alliances, but not completely.
Right.
She was blabbing on him constantly. He was blabbing on her. I mean, it just wasn't a strong alliance.
Yeah.
So with her not getting votes, that level of trust will continue with the Suri group. And therefore, information, I believe, continues to flow. If she gets a couple of votes in this tribal and doesn't get voted out, but gets some votes, suddenly her paranoia level is up, and maybe she starts to realize, or at least investigate, the fact that someone double-crossed her, and could it be Suri, dare I say, who has been controlling this game? Because she doesn't get a single vote tonight, it was almost a smarter vote for that alliance to continue control.
Stay off the radar. Right.
They're off the radar. They are completely off the radar, and they're not to be found, all right, unless somehow they spy shack it up and find out, all right? I'd be spy shacking around Suri like there's no tomorrow.
Right.
So that's what I'd be doing, but nobody's doing that. Nobody's going to do that in this game. So I just think, again, that alliance, particularly all of the alliances that Suri has created, have made her, at the moment, it feels like she's kind of bulletproof. But
and which, to your point, right? Because there was no Emily vote, if you club her in the back of the head the next time out, she, in theory, wouldn't have any indication it was coming. She would have no indication that you put a bounty on her head, because you gave her no indication, all things considered, unless something else happened.
If they voted her out tonight, she would have never saw it coming. She was completely clueless. Though it was interesting. She was, she's got those penetrating eyes. She was peering around at every answer, at tribal. What does that mean? What does that mean? And you saw Ozzy. Ozzy was ticked at her, but Ozzy was good. Even though he made his point, he didn't, it was like he didn't give it away. And he certainly didn't look at Emily or give any indication. But Ozzy was sending a shot across the bow there. Like, I'm sick of these people who say to my face, I love you, I love you, I love you. I'm in alliance with you. And then 5 minutes later, they're talking to someone about voting you off. Good grief.
Well, yeah, I think, again, it's the edit, right? Does he say his thing and Emily really gives that look immediately after saying it? Or did they sort of draw it up? Because, the way Ozzy said that, again, we have all the information, but it felt very blunt to me. Sometimes the low-hanging fruit isn't the fruit to go after, which, again, obviously he's saying Christian, because Christian already has a vote for him. It would be easy for everyone to just, hey, we're always looking for an excuse to vote someone out. This guy already has one vote. Let's just all push him on him. So to say, maybe the easy vote isn't the thing to do. And I'm Emily. I'm like, I thought we were all voting for Christian. That you don't want the easy vote. Does that mean I'm the next vote? But, so again, unless she was able to surmise that herself, I don't know.
One more here from Low Key Valkyrie. This is another good point. We haven't talked about this one yet. How much do we think the Aubrey-Jonathan alliance started to form tonight? I kind of like it. Two people you wouldn't be expecting. Jonathan needs some people. I mean, I think this is smart that Jonathan takes a chance here with Aubrey. It may be one of his only chances to advance in the game is to get Aubrey, and who else he can pull along with that. All right. But could that play a part in future tribals? Do we think they can pull off a Camilla Kyle kind of background power move where no one even knows their line, and somehow, some way they're maneuvering, and giving each other information? You think that could possibly happen here?
Great comp by Loki Valkyrie, right? Because again, Kyle and Camilla, they were working together, but no one would have guessed. And they kept it very secret. They did these weird meetings, like randomly when they're passing by each other. It could do, baseball. And then like that 3 seconds apparently explained to both sides, whatever the hell that meant. Yep. So yes, very much so. Because Aubrey is, I don't want her to take offense to this, but I think this is perception inconsequential. Like people aren't worrying about her chess piece anymore. She's just sort of fallen by the wayside. People are like, yeah, we'll figure her out later. So for Jonathan and Aubrey, because it's sort of Ozzy and Cirie like in a way, although Jonathan has showed a lot more competence strategically this season than Ozzy hasn't, if that makes sense. Like Ozzy has this massive gaping hole in strategy. Cirie is filling it. Jonathan has showed a more evolutionized side to him that would pair very nicely with Aubrey, with her intelligence in theory. Those two things, and he's a beast physically. Those two things going together. I think desperate times call for desperate measures. I think Jonathan is very desperate, and I think that marriage could inspire, because Aubrey, as she was sort of describing herself during the episode, wants to make a move. Jonathan has been collecting severed heads on his belt. So he's clearly continuing to look for that. So no, I think that can bear fruit later.
A couple more quickies from Gator on the Bond thing, since we got into that earlier.
Yeah, sure.
He says, Man with the Golden Gun is my favorite film. That's a good one with Mr. Scaramanga. Right? And the little guy that used to be on Fantasy Island, the small person there.
Yeah.
He's hilarious in that. I forget what his character's name is in that. It's slipped my mind. He's got a one-word name. Yeah. I saw the drive-in. Started the drive-in with my dad.
Cool.
He says Casino Royale is probably the best film. Sean, of course, the best Bond. Talking about Sean Connery.
I love Skyfall, to be honest. And I love the soundtrack on Skyfall too. Casino Royale isn't bad at all. I'm not trying to crap on that.
Casino Royale is up there for me. That's very, very close. It's definitely in my top 3. All right, that's the torture scene in that one.
There's some grimaces. They do some
being
intense
in the
stuff.
theater and wincing, like, is this really happening? Oh my God.
Are you
diabolical?
Is Skyfall up there for you, or you don't consider it?
I like everything about Skyfall until the end of the movie, where he goes back to his childhood home. It's like holed up with the old man and the rifle, and an entire army comes to get them. And somehow him, along with M, who's traipsing along with him, survived that whole thing.
Right. Okay.
That's where Skyfall lost me. Like, I love the fact that they tried to integrate something we have never seen in Bond before, and that's the Bond origin story.
Yeah.
That he was an orphan, and how did this guy become what he became? That was kind of interesting to go back there.
Barking up the right tree, but
that movie just come on, couldn't we have done this better? Couldn't we done smarter? So good until that point, Boy Green. That's
okay. Fair enough.
It never could go wrong anyway with an Adele theme song for it.
It was spectacular.
I mean, we've had some great ones in Bond over the years.
Great soundtrack,
phenomenal. There've been some great soundtrack songs that have come from any of the Bond movies, which also the music makes it a great series as well.
Sure, that's a big part of it, I think.
Hits. There've been some genuine hits that have come out of Bond, so that's
even the video games. I used to play those when I was a kid. GoldenEye and 007. Like the dun 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 dun. You
hear that in the theater, and you just know what's going on. Last thing here from Gator, did you hear that Pierce Brosnan may get a role as an old retired 00? I did not hear that. That would be fascinating. To see the old man Brosnan back playing a different role other than Bond. They've never done that before. Brought in a Bond,
like an Easter egg kind of,
in a new Bond movie.
That's interesting.
How does that work? I don't know.
I mean, because
but
that's what I was about to say. Because like the diehard fans are like, wait, what the? But like maybe it would have to be a purposeful breaking the fourth wall wink to the diehard fans, I suppose. But maybe some people wouldn't get it either. So.
Okay, get some final thoughts on this one. Bret will be back hopefully next week. Again, he was under the weather tonight, folks, so sorry he wasn't able to join us, but we wish him the best. Hope he feels better, and we'll go from there. All right, final thoughts if you have any, BG. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'm just really enjoying the heck out of the Survivor 50 season. Again, for those who don't know, here's another breaking the fourth wall. We set up these episodes in advance, right? So Survivor 50, episode 9 recap, that was written in the stars at like 8 this morning or something, or last night or whatever I wrote it. But the unique headline of Jeff Probst joins challenge, history made with player voting himself out, that's added after the fact because obviously I don't see the episode till we all see it together. And I am having no trouble coming up with these headlines because there are so many, to me, interesting things coming out. It's Dragon Slayer's cramps. It's the celebrity involvement, but the debate about it, like Zach Brown, some people loved it, a lot of people hated it. We have the Jimmy Fallon thing, obviously. So to me, we hyped up 50 a lot for it being season 50 and hyping it up for a lot of reasons. And to me, it's really lived up to the hype. I have not had an episode yet where I'm like, yikes, that's boring. I haven't felt that way.
All right. Finally, are you there in the Steel City of Pittsburgh? The NFL draft is tomorrow. I'm hearing some noise outside your door.
That is rain, which was throwing me off. I was like, are we being pelted?
Really hard in Pittsburgh. Wow.
Oh, yes. And I forgot. I've never been in this room before. There's like a skylight.
Skylight in the room. Yes,
so, that's coming right through there, too. So, no, I heard it. And I'm like, I was making sure I heard it and I wasn't doing something else wrong. But, yeah, it's rain. Although the weather is supposed to be beautiful today.
Beautiful tomorrow. 80 degrees tomorrow for you in Pittsburgh tomorrow. Not it doesn't look like a lick of a chance of rain. So you're going to have a beautiful day. And a beautiful evening, probably a little cooler evening, maybe low 60s in the evening in Pittsburgh, a little light jacket weather. Ought to be fantastic for the NFL draft. Did you get a peek at all today? You get a peek at anything, or you just get to the hotel?
No, I wish I would have. My original plan was to get here within a decent amount of time just to sort of peek around the city and just see, because I've seen a lot of people coming. I drove, but I've seen a lot of people come through the airport, like our buddy Jake Asman, and they have something I assume it's at the airport, like a fake Roger Goodell podium with the draft logo back there and a photo op for people to be in front of it and say, we're at the draft and stuff like that. So, I wanted to sort of peek around and kind of view it. So, I guess I'm going to ultimately end up seeing it in its glory because I'm doing a show tomorrow morning. As soon as that show's over, like from here, from the I was about to say hotel room, but Airbnb, Boy Green Daily, leave, go pick up Johnny Boy from the airport, immediately go back to his hotel so he can dress into whatever he wants to dress for draft day. Come back here because thankfully our host here at the Airbnb is giving us parking. So blessed be he. I'm terrible at parking. And then we can walk from here to the draft and all the festivities at McFadden's and everything else. So, oh my God. So I can't wait. It's going to be spectacular. But anywho, so long story short, to answer your question, I'm going to see it live in its glory, right, so to speak. Like it's going to be people buzzing and all that kind of stuff. So that's awesome. One more here from.
Have you? Go ahead. I was going to say, have you decided, by the way, on a jersey for tomorrow? What jersey
I have?
Are you wearing?
So So for the first 2 days of the draft, I have not seen Lou B yet in town. I know he is in town because I saw him on other shows, but so we're going to be in the pit. So we're right next to the stage. So you really have to think about what you're wearing because that's going to be possibly on TV forever. But I wanted to be unique. I wanted whatever I picked to stand out. So I was like, looking at I can't just be a normal jersey.
You've got a lot of jerseys.
I do. I have probably 60 or 70 or so. So I opted.
He's crazy.
Yeah. So one of the most unique pieces I have in my collection is a New York Jets baseball jersey. So it's baseball button-down style with the Big Jets logo on it, and it's very unique. I haven't seen, outside of myself wearing it, I've never seen anyone else wear it before, which means I'm going to see 50 people tomorrow wearing it probably, but which is only the natural thing. So I'm going to wear that. Me and Johnny Boy will be matching our Zubaz back in the day, nice. The old Zubaz. So I've had them forever, but I never wear them. My fiance always hates when I wear them because she thinks they look like a zebra.
Like a zebra, yeah.
Zebra pants. So we will match our zebra pants. So that will catch a lot of eyes, I'm sure. I've got the official, it's off camera here, but the official draft hat of the year, because my birthday is always right around the draft. It's on Sunday this year. I'll be driving back on Sunday. And the gift, I must be the easiest person to gift in history because every year, just get me the latest draft hat, done. That's just got to be super easy. So not a lot of intrigue in terms of shopping. So I wear the draft hat, baseball jersey, Zubac pants, and I have I don't have them near me, but custom Jet shoes, which are very nice. So I have those. And then on Friday, the other day we'll be on TV. I have
Wait, Tiger Woods, you got a different outfit for every day.
I do for all 3 days, as a matter of fact. Only the first 2, I guess I'll be on TV, but the third one I won't be. But I have a different outfit for them too. I have a very custom, unique Darrelle Revis Pro Bowl jersey, which is red and then has the Jets logo inside. No one's going to have this, which is what I'm hoping, because I wanted to be different. So that should be very easy to see on Friday. If you look into the crowd, you're like, whoa, red? You're going to see me. So, Darrelle Revis jersey, which Darrelle Revis Pro Bowl jersey. And he went to Pitt, so that has a special connection too.
Yeah,
Pitt. So Wink and Revis is in town.
Where they play their games, right?
Exactly, right. Yeah, 100%. So, yeah.
By the way, folks are watching. I'm a diehard Giants fan. Paul's a diehard Jets fan.
Yes.
And interestingly enough, Paul, I got an email today. You know, you get all these marketing emails when things come out, like the draft hats. Mm-hmm. The Giants draft hat is out. I absolutely hate it, Paul. All it is an NY blue cap with a red brim. Nothing special about it. I don't know. Maybe it says NFL draft on one of the sides or something. But I was like, what the heck? This is such a lame hat for the, exclusive NFL draft 2026 hat, man. I got a little thing tonight. I was like, I wouldn't buy that hat if you paid me, man. I mean, I didn't like it at all, man. It was a bad.
Yeah. I'm seeing this hat. I like the hat.
You like it?
Yeah,
red
so we're
and the blue.
We'll bring it on stage here in a second. I gotta get it to the right file here.
I did not like it at all. Did not like it.
Well, yeah, here I'll bring it up on screen. But I would just say, I think so. 2 things that you probably can't see online if that's where you've seen it. So
right. There's seen a front shot of the thing too.
So so here it is. So I'm going to throw this up, and I'll actually grab the hat in a second so you guys can see it. So here's the hat. All right.
Yeah, that's just not doing anything for me. I mean, it's not a bad hat, but this is the big time draft hat. It's a giant hat with a red brim.
So I'm gonna go full screen here. Okay, this is the latest Jets draft hat. So there's a metallic quality, if you can see it with the white.
Oh, okay. See that a little bit. Yeah.
So
that's kind of cool.
So you do have that on the Giants hat. You get a pin with the hat with the current draft.
Okay.
That comes with it. And a cool thing, no one would ever see this, but inside every one of the hats is a custom design for the hat. It's old Jets logos here, but there's some people have things to their team's history and stuff of that nature. The back is also metallic, so you can see it, the reflective NFL. Cool. So it's a little,
the picture you brought up actually looks better than the one that I was looking at today.
Oh, is it? Yeah, here it is. It is
sharper. That looks sharper. It's got a little pop in the NY there, and like you said, it's got that metallic. You can't.
The metallic is really a nice touch. It's a little bit of a heavier hat too, because whatever that material is.
We've done this blue with the red brim thing before. This is not a new. I like when they try to come up with something new. I know you got to stick in the colors and the parameters, but I don't know.
But Ed hates the red too, so we're the Giants, not some other thing.
I have the all red with the white NY on it, and Ed Valentine, who is from Big Blue View, a big Giants publication, is always like, I hate that red hat, and I hate the red jerseys with the white. That's not the Giants. So I get it. If you get too fancy, you get off brand, dare I say.
Yeah.
So. I don't know. Not my favorite, but I like the Jet hat better than the Giants hat. But basically the same hat, but I just like the way it plays in green, I guess. I just like it better.
Yeah, that's very fair. Thank you for that. I want to get one more Survivor comment in here. Okay. Loki Valkyrie says, thank you guys again for the show tonight. Great breakdown and insight. Thank you for saying that. We really enjoy doing this. Hoping to see Tiffany and Sari take down Emily next episode again. The cool thing, I want Emily gone episode 1, and we're heading into episode 10. So I want her gone immediately. But to be honest, that's part of the drama, right? That I want her out. So I'd be tuning in no matter what. But I'm tuning in can we just get Emily out? The players you love, the players you love to hate. So it's great theater. So there's a few people I still hate on the island, and Loki Valkyrie, Emily is one of them. So, but great comment there. I appreciate it.
And Danger Paul is not in Guatemala. He's in Pittsburgh.
It is weird, right? Come
on, Danger. What are you doing?
True. Because look at Lurch, right? He's got this beautiful studio. Let's go full screen on Lurch here. Okay, you got the Survivor buff there, at the neighbors back there. There's some emotional, moody, blue, creepy, purple lighting. Which is very eerie, which I love. And look at all that background. You got so much going on back there. And then look at me. It feels like I've been kidnapped. And if I blink twice for help, come save me. I'm in some random. It's a very beautiful palace, though.
The room is beautiful. That room is beautiful. The picture of you sitting there on the floor in that room, is not doing justice for what that room is. He's got a beautiful skylight, a 4-post
chandelier.
He's got a gorgeous chandelier above him. I
Fireplace
have stayed in that room. It's a beautiful Airbnb in Pittsburgh. And it was one of my mainstays, and I've been in every room in that place. He has 4 rooms there. And that's nice from the balcony room. And you have a little balcony. You're the only room with a balcony that comes outside. You can look at this beautiful park that's across the street, and you could sit out there with a couple of people who smoke cigars and drink bourbon or whatever it is that you do on a balcony. Really, really cool kind of, nice outdoor thing. And you're going to get the kind of weather to maybe hang on that balcony.
Hey, before I hit the hay tonight, I'm going to grab a nice ice cold water bottle out of the fridge because that's what I've been drinking here to catch back up on fluids. And I'm going to go out there and listen to the rain for a little bit and then say, all right, time to hit the hay for the draft that's coming up. So,
all right. Okay. We'll put a nice, neat bow on this one. Again, wishing Bret better health. Hopefully have you back next week, Bret. So we're missing you tonight, but you'll be back next week with us for sure. We'll break it down. We'll get his opinion on a couple of these things that he missed this week. I'm sure he watched the episode. He was going to try and tough it out. Thank goodness he just decided to try to save his voice. So hopefully Bret is back to full health next week. All right, Boy Green, anything else you want to add before we get out of here?
No, just thanks for all the comments.
Awesome in the comments tonight. Yep, very, very good.
When we first did this, again, we've been doing this a long time, an audio version, so we don't really get a lot of questions because we're just on air live looking at each other doing a show. So in this video world where we're getting comments in front of us, it's a different ball game. This is our first season doing it video wise. So at first, I think a lot of people were tepid and they weren't sure how to interact or what to do. And sort of as we're going through this, people are getting more comfortable. So Loki, Valkyrie, thank you so much. Others for commenting on in here. Gator is a huge Survivor fan, so shout out to him. And then the name I'm going to continue to butcher, Ronoramas 6948. Tatiana, shout out to her. She was in here earlier, so I appreciate that. My fiance and family are back home, and Avion and everyone that commented. Johnny Boy. Okay, I missed Johnny Boy earlier.
You'll be joined by tomorrow, Johnny Boy.
I will be. So no, but huge shout out. And again, it makes it more interactive. This, people ask all the time about commenting in and having interaction.
Yeah.
This, among anything that we do, is supposed to be as interactive as possible. We value your questions. We value your comments, like Survivor stories yourself of how you fell in love with Survivor, questions about the specific episode, who we think is doing well or who do we think is sucking, like no matter what. So it's supposed to be a very interactive show, and I'm glad it is. And again, over 500 people on April 22nd at well over 11 o'clock at night is pretty impressive. So perhaps one more shout out here, Lurch. Absolutely. Folks, make sure you subscribe to that channel. Again, you could be watching this in a lot of different places. It's youtube.com/@MCShowDigital. We do Survivor recap episodes after every episode shortly thereafter. Again, next week's episode, I believe, is going to be 2 hours. So we'll be on 10:05, 10:10, 10:15. We'll sort of adjust to the schedule. Hell, when the finale gets here, we have a 3-hour with live finale, which is going to be back. It's been confirmed. After all that wraps up, we'll come on live and react to it. So it's spectacular. And thank you, everyone, for tuning in tonight. We had a huge raucous crowd.
All right. Get to bed, BG. Boy Green Daily tomorrow, 7:30 in the morning with this guy, live from the Steel City, Pittsburgh. Draft coverage all day long. Watch for him on TV wearing that Jets baseball jersey. Okay, now I know at least what you're wearing. That ought to be cool. And looking forward to a really good draft. The 2 New York teams, the Jets and the Giants, at least, with 2 first-round picks. The Giants with 2 in the top 10. The Jets will pick 2nd overall. It's going to be an exciting draft. So we're looking forward to it. I'll certainly be watching on television. Lots of video and content coming your way as well right here on our channel. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in tonight. We do appreciate it. We will see you again soon next week for Survivor. Take care.